Hello, this is Thomas Campbell. I'm the author of the My Big TOE-Trilogie. I am particularly pleased that these books have finally been translated in their final form to German audience. Of all the countries that are non-English speaking countries, the ideas have developed there better. And I think that's because the Germans tend to be a little more rational, a little more careful about separating facts from opinions and thinking the big ideas than do many other cultures. It's just kind of natural for them. The world's engineers tend to be very careful about not jumping to conclusions and not just swallowing assumptions. I'm a physicist. I've written this book, actually 3 books called My Big TOE-Trilogie. And the My Big TOE-Trilogie is a book about life. It's a book about science. It's a book about philosophy. It talks about the big questions like, why am I here? What is my purpose? How does quantum physics work? Why should the speed of light be a constant? So there's a mixture of physics, metaphysics, philosophy, but all of it is science. It's all logical. Okay. Now, one of the bylines that you will, if you read my books, that you will hear over and over again, is that you need to be skeptical. You need to be skeptical of everything. And I find the Germans to excel at being skeptical, but they also excel at something else, and that is being open-minded. In other words, you have to not be afraid to go where your logic takes you. If your logic takes you someplace that's out of the box, beyond what most of your population believes, then you have to have the courage of your own intellect to go there if that's where the logic leads you. So that's what I mean by open-minded. Now, I wrote these books to explain consciousness. Okay. I was a young physicist just out of graduate school and had an opportunity to meet and then work with Bob Monroe. And Bob Monroe, if you don't know, wrote Journeys Out of the Body, Far Journeys, and Ultimate Journey. And I traded my scientific understanding for his knowledge of how to explore consciousness. I wanted to understand, how does it work? Why does it work? Is this guy just making this up to sell books, or is he really telling the truth about what he experiences? And the only way to find out is to try it, go into it, explore it, and see for myself. So I did that. And eventually, some 35, 40 years later, worth of doing research about consciousness, I wrote these books to be a theory of consciousness. And I understood that consciousness had to be primary, and what we call the physical world had to be secondary. That's because I had learned how to do many times things with my mind that would affect things here in this physical world, but I could not do things in the physical world that really changed things in the mental world. You see, so what that tells you is that the mind is primary, consciousness is fundamental, and the physical is a subset of consciousness. So I looked at all of the facts I had developed on the consciousness side, and from my physics, all the facts that I understood on the physical side, and came up with a model that put those two together so that it's just one understanding of the nature of reality. It tells you about subjective reality, your consciousness, your thoughts, all of, it's a science of subjective reality. It's also the science of objective reality. It derives quantum physics. It explains why quantum physics is not actually weird science at all. It's logical science, just like any other science, if you understand it. It explains relativity theory, why c, the velocity of light, is a constant. So it derives better physics, and it derives better human understanding of purpose and point and why. Okay, so I think you'll find the book interesting. It's a challenging read for those of you who are intellectual, open-minded, and skeptical, but I think you'll find it interesting. So enjoy these books in your own language. Thank you.